Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Checking in on the MJ sector, so the S&P 500 had another green day today with the help of oil. We're going to be looking for some healthy consolidation in the market to find a daily higher low sometime in the near-term future. So we had CGC form a daily inside bar, held that low of yesterday. There was some nice bottom fishing opportunities today as the 5-minute time frame dumped, and we held those supports. So 39.90 and 39.91 was a double bottom from yesterday. We held that support by 15 cents and then saw a very significant 3% bounce essentially, and actually more than that by the end of the day. So congrats to the bulls buying that dip off support, but the daily time frame still has a lot of work to do. We know that anything under 45.78 is just a daily lower high. At this point, this bounce is still unimpressive. So what I need to see is a clear daily trend change with a higher low and a higher high. And as of right now, we are skeptical of the bulls as they remain in a daily downtrend. Cron also held support, also an opportunity to buy off of that level. So the dump, 16.22 straight to 15.31. 5-minute RSI got crushed, or 15.31 I should say, but we held the low of yesterday by 8 pennies and then saw a massive bounce of about 4 or 5%. So we have a daily inside bar on both of these names. Bulls have so much more space to work with to form a daily higher low at this point compared to most other names. So Cron bulls have favor in that regard. If we break the inside bar bearish at 15.31, the gap to fill is down at 14.45. We'll be keeping an eye on that. But essentially, we're just looking for the daily higher low to form compared to 13.51. And then we need that trend change with confirmation of the higher low and higher high. APHA, nice close at the end of the day. Something looked like it was up. Don't know whether we'll have news coming or what, but clearly stood out in the sense that we did close at the high of the day with that strength because SPY was dumping the last half hour of the day, and we saw that dump affect negatively CGC and other names, but not APHA. So APHA for these bulls, to prove follow-through, we need a break of 702, and then we're looking up at 768, and this is the kind of scenario where we did see a break of the low of yesterday, but only by 2 pennies. And essentially it looks like, well, look at after hours. Perhaps that move is coming back. Certainly no volume behind after hours, but let's see what that looks like short term. So that's nothing. We'll see how we open tomorrow after that big volume run up at the end of the day. But on the hourly time frame, what I'm looking at is essentially the high. We'll call that a double bottom because it's a break by 2 pennies. And now we're scouting. If we can't break 706 tomorrow, we'll have a lower high. Let's look at it on the 4-hour time frame. And then it would be an equilibrium if we can't break 706 and we start to consolidate. So I do like the 4-hour time frame for clarity on APHA. So ACB started pulling back now. We had the low, high of the bounce, and here's the bulls having to form a higher low to try and change this trend. We need the hourly trend to go back to the bulls with a higher low and higher high. And then we need the daily trend to change with the higher low and then a bull break of 816. That's the most important resistance from here. And the bulls need to show up because at this point, we can just look at the move, and it was $1.03 move, and we have pulled back from the low today. We pulled back 71 cents. So that essentially tells me we pulled back 70% of the bull move up, which is not what the bulls want to see. They want to see us hold, 25%, 33% of the pullback, and that gives the potential for continuation. But when you pull back that much, it's now going to require for the bulls to see this continuation. We're going to have to see almost a 10% move. So we may be stuck within this range for at least a few more days into mid to late next week. TLRY, double bottom, so I see you bulls, prove something. Break 38. If you break 38, you shift that momentum and the daily oversold bounce will get underway with some follow through. So a very clear base of support. We held that low of 34.25 by 5 pennies. Now the bulls have to break 38. And again, we need about 6-7% to do so. And then once we get that, we have to be watching these daily exponential resistances, which have been giving the bulls trouble for a very long time at this point. 3 months of just rejecting from these levels. So even if we get that bull break, we're going to be smack dab right at that exponential resistance, which again has been a very clear guide keeping the bears in control. So still a lot of proof needed, but at least there's a base of support to be watching at this point. OGI. So just like ACB, we have our low, we have our high, and here's the bulls attempting a higher low. They have to see a hold of 948 and a break of 1021 to change the daily trend, and if we pull that off, it is a weekly higher low being formed. So the bulls really want to see that shift take place tomorrow, and if we were to see a bear break of 948 tomorrow, it is a big blow to the confidence of the bulls. Again, the move was a $1.11 move, and the amount that we've given back at this point is 73 cents. It's a lot of pullback, still possible to change this daily trend, but bulls need to show up with volume tomorrow and Monday, essentially. Hexo. So clearly weaker than everybody because we dropped to a lower low. Most names have not broken that low yet. Not a ton of follow through, but notable that we did break that level. Next level is down at 6 psychological, and the weekly time frame here still trying to keep the uptrend. We've been pulling back for 6 weeks at this point, still in a weekly uptrend, but the bulls must change momentum and hold 588. Most important resistance on the daily is now 670, and it's up to the bulls to change this trend, and we need about, let's see, 42 cents. We need about 5%, nope, more than that, 7% to see a bull break. TRST held support. Again, more of a pullback than the bulls would like, but at least they held that support to give themselves a chance to break 760 to change the daily trend. And if we drop down and break 732, then it will fall into the category of weaker names along with Hexo, which are breaking their supports. So VFF, we have our low, high, higher, low, and we're looking for a lower high to be set. We got to about the middle point of that range. And again, we're looking for this equilibrium to tighten up. And if you want to put it on the 2-day time frame, it makes things a little bit more condensed and clear. And we're going to be looking for a lower high to form in the next couple of days. And then we'll see if the bulls can hold 1180 to remain in this tightening range. It's entirely possible we stay in this tightening range until end of next week, or maybe even the following week, early the following week. T-God have to hold the low of 337 and have to see the bull break of 377 to change the trend. Everybody's in a similar spot with the framework of the setups. Some names are holding on better than others. Kron certainly stands out as a bull. We had APHA today stand out as a bull. Hexo standing out as a bear. So pretty much framework of the setup is all the same. And then individual names can be placed on a spectrum of who's stronger in that setup and who's weaker. IIPR, bull break to all-time highs today, but we knew we were overextended heading to that level. The volume climax looks like a temporary top as it's a bearish reversal spinning top candlestick. And we have the hourly uptrend still intact. Let's see if we get a lower high tomorrow compared to 96.60. And then if we were to lose the hourly uptrend with a break of 89.10, that would tell us that the top is set and we need a new daily higher low compared to 81.23. You're not going to find many MJ names hitting all-time highs, and a daily inside bar could absolutely form tomorrow as we closed in the middle of a very large range. CURA, no follow-through on the bounce. Daily inside bar today. If the inside bar breaks bearish tomorrow, 10.07 is the must-hold support. Key resistance is 11.93. Bulls have to hold 10.07 and break 11.93 to try and shift momentum. Burden of proof on the bulls, and they have some work to do. C-Web is a daily bear flag, and it certainly looks that way. Only support nearby, 16.38. Short-term resistance is 18.17. Couldn't break the high of yesterday first thing, and we pulled back today. Very unimpressive bounce for C-Web. Bulls are in trouble, and they are going to have to prove something with some bull volume. When's the last time we saw notable bull volume? And it's been a long time. You might say here, but that's an upper wick with a good amount of profit taking. Here was a lower wick, so the bears pushed the price down initially, but really just a solid green day where we can say that's a lot of bull volume. It's been a very long time. IAN still weak. Only support level nearby is 5.08. Bulls have to hold 5.08 and breaks 5.61 to try and shift this momentum. We've been trading within this range now for 7 days. Bears have favor after a fairly weak close. Same thing, we got one green day with no real follow-through. When's the last time we've seen 2 days with higher highs in a row? It happened right here once. And since then, it hasn't happened since the $7 range. MJ sector, still weak. TRUL is a bear flag on the daily time frame. Only support nearby, 1362. Key resistance is now set at 1491. Bulls didn't really prove much. One green day, six red days. Bears are in control. MedMen. When you're coming off a trend like this, you know there's a lot of shorts. And when you see a big bull move, it happens quickly because it's bulls buying the dip and shorts covering at the same time, and we get a bit of a short squeeze. If you look at Tesla on the daily time frame, it's an example of a very successful short squeeze. But on a move like this, you have to anticipate that it's just going to be a short-term bounce setting a daily lower high, and the odds that we change the trend from the all-time low like that are not likely. So yes, there were great gains to be had there, but bulls are locking in the gains while they have them because they certainly have been short-lived for the last many months, and the bears are just jumping right back in after things cool off on the RSI. So what we need to see for these bulls to prove anything is to hold 251 support and break 295, and then we're looking up at make that 321 after that as well. OH. So OH bulls have to hold 966 and then see a break of 1093 resistance to change the daily trend. A little bit more space to work with than some of the other names we've been looking at. So that would be in the category of slightly more bullish. Not significantly. We closed at the low of the day, but very low volume. So keeping an eye on OH to try and form that daily higher low. People ask me why I don't cover GTII or HARV, and the reason is I don't trade them, and they're not doing anything different than anybody else. So if I'm giving analysis on these setups and they all look the same, then you can just apply analysis of one ticker to the other ticker. You've heard me say the same thing now 6 times in this video. So if I look at this HARV chart, I can say, okay, well, we're just setting a lower high every single day, and we're down at the lows. The bears are in complete control, and it's just the same story over and over again, except HARV is weaker than everybody that we've looked at, almost everybody. GTII is interesting because we are building a base of support in the $15 area. So I am interested in that regard because the bulls have been able... It's really the bears getting a lack of follow-through that makes me interested. And when I see that kind of setup, I zoom in and I look for the key levels here. And I need to see a bull break of 1640 and 1650. But GTII would have my attention here because of this base of support. You're not going to find many MJ names that have not broken significantly or clearly below the low from really May. So if these bulls can break 1650, it will be notable to see a clear shift in momentum for the first time in a long time. And GTII would definitely be on a list next to my computer, reminding me to keep an eye on it. But again, being skeptical, making the bulls prove it with bull volume. We've seen one green day in about 3 weeks. HARV closed at the low of the day. No follow through from the bounce yesterday. We have a lower high on the daily time frame every day, 7 days in a row now. Only support is 816, and if 816 breaks, we're looking at 778. Look on the monthly time frame, and right now we've been talking about the MJ sector and monthly support levels, and a lot of names are in monthly uptrends. HARV is at risk of losing its monthly uptrend if we break 780. That was a little higher low that we formed. That's the only support on the monthly aside from the all-time low. Bulls really want to hold that level, and we are rapidly speeding towards that support. So the one green day cooled off the daily RSI and potentially heading back down towards daily oversold. The weekly RSI is not even close to oversold. So again, there's just no bull opportunity that I see as far as a low risk entry or anything like that. So the bottom line is the sector is still weak. The market has bounced. That gave some short-term relief to some of these names. The Canadian MJ sector with their listings on major exchanges benefited from correlations to the market more significantly than USMJ did. USMJ saw the 1 day of bull laggard action yesterday, and we now have to be wondering if the S&P 500 gives us daily consolidation that we know is inevitable. Is that going to have correlation favor lower lows? The bull correlation has been weak, but the correlation to the downside can remain strong, so we have to be cautious of that. Again, at all times, we want to have a game plan clearly established. I have a CGC position with my stop loss at break even. I have an IAN position, and my break even there is going to be just below. If we drop to a lower low here on the daily time frame, I'll be getting close to break even, but I'm going to be doing the same thing that I've been doing all the last few months. If we see IAN break $5, I'll start to get interested in an oversold bounce again, and I will look to flip that oversold bounce to keep my cost basis low. Aside from that, patiently waiting for some kind of catalyst to get people interested in the MJ space again, and that may be a while. So again, patience. Seeing a lot of fear out there, people saying that the USMJ run was over when it, in my opinion, hasn't even started yet. This was just a pre-game. The move up in the spring was just a little bit of a taste of what will happen if we get political changes. So every state that changes their laws definitely benefits, but we want something federally to really get interest in this space. And you better believe that once we get some kind of significant federal change, whether it's the Safe Banking Act, whether it's decriminalization or not decriminalization, whether it's rescheduling, or whether it's legalization, with perhaps that being a platform for the 2020 election, whatever it is, when that happens, just like that, I did this in this SPY video right at the bottom, but the shift in momentum is going to be so fast and rapid, and there's going to be articles everywhere, and it's going to be all everybody's talking about, and my video views are going to go up 50%. When that happens, it might be in a month, it might be in 2 years. We don't know, but we're going to keep an eye on it. I appreciate you watching. Do good things out there. We'll see you over the weekend.
High, higher, low, low, high, higher, low, lower, 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 high, higher, low, low, high, higher.
Bitcoin's breaking out.